は時間になりましたので、ただいまより別府案会議2023を開催いたします。
インターネットのおじいさん、The Grandfather of the Internet、Distributed Computing、分散コンピューターシステムというのをほとんど世界で初めて。
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here. It's been quite a while since I've been to this part of Japan. I've been living in Japan now for 5 years. A little bit of history first and then talk about the future. In 1985, several of us came from the United States to allow Japan and Korea to officially join the US Internet. At that point, the ARPANET and CSNet. And we came and gave the tapes to both the people in Japan and in Korea, and made it official that they could actually communicate, restricted, but communicate with the United States. And it was the beginning of the international open internet. The internet in Japan was largely the academic communities marking it, as in the United States. And the wide network joined the internet fairly early under Jim Marai and others. A bunch of thinking people started the hyper-networking activities, and to my knowledge, actually, Oita was one of the first community networks that I knew being planned. So around the world, in fact. So in fact, Japan took a leadership there, and over the past 35 years, the internet has become a part of Japan, part of society of both Japan and Asia, as well as the rest of the world. I'd like to talk more about the future than the past. Somehow it's more exciting. Focus first on artificial intelligence. That's a complicated area. It's an old area. When I first came to out of school to Bell Laboratories, we were talking then about AI in the sense of emulating human thinking. Something we still think about, but it's a very, very difficult subject. One can take gambles. One can go and do research and see if it yields anything. The current candidate had realized that over the history of computer science, we've taken a lot of steps, some of which were successful, some of which were not, but had a strong impact on society, as AI will certainly be. First, let me distinguish sort of two fields. Let me call it real AI and AGI. And that's very, very difficult, and remarkably little progress was made there. The type of AI which would enable us to have iRobot type devices. I think most of you have watched endless science fiction stories where robots behave like human beings. We're far, far, far from that. The large language models are the latest of the progress in using pieces of things which I hate to call AI, let me call it advanced computing for a moment, which have large payoffs, potentially. Every step forward in computing that we've made always ends up with the predictions that it will obsolete work, people will become unemployed, they will have jobs to do, and yet every one of them has ended up increasing the opportunities for people, increasing the jobs, and increasing the happiness of society in the main. Panic over the hype, I would call it hype, of AI, the AI companies largely in claiming that they've solved the artificial intelligence problem, which I don't think anybody in the field really believes, has caused governments to start thinking about regulating this and putting the laws in place to control what it does. That probably is an error. We're at the early stages of both the use of these systems, the integration into our society, and to have laws passed which will tend to slow things down and may not help in practice in trying to solve the unemployment problem or the false news problems, et cetera, may slow the system to the point where it ceases to be doable. When I was at the United States FCC, Federal Communication Commission, as chief scientist, I had an opportunity to watch how laws are made in the Congress. And one fears that the results of the panic over regulation of AI is going to make laws which none of us particularly like, even those who are trying to defend issues of public safety, et cetera. My advice to those who are interested in seeing the future develop is to try to take part in the discussions. Don't just leave it to lawyers and companies to try to figure out what's best for them. Finally, I'd like to talk about maybe one of my favorite subjects. If we're to see the internet and systems like the HyperNetwork, et cetera, we're going to have to solve some basic problems. Our network, our computers, our software are not securable. They can't be made secure the way they are. That has to take some real attention, and it's not clear where that's going to happen. But I really strongly think that's going to be, over the next few years, a very difficult process. And if we end up with the wrong solution, we may not have a network. Just think of what the world would have been like during the COVID catastrophe if we didn't have the internet. Yeah, the world would have ground to a stop. Certainly education would have died. Many companies would have been in serious trouble. And that episode has some good because it changed the way we work. Some companies are going back on that, but some have learned that, in fact, there was a valuable addition to the way the world operates. The Cyber Civilization Research Center at Keio University, which is trying to look at the implications of cyber on a whole set of fields, medicine, computer science, business, et cetera. Fairly rich set of cooperating researchers. We hope to extend that to multiple universities because, in fact, unless we look to the future and see what the implications are, we're going to be in trouble. Thank you.
どうもありがとうございます。